directed by Greg Zobel and starring Betty Gilpin, Hilary Swank, Wayne Duvall, and Ike Barinholtz. This story follows 12 strangers. After they're kidnapped and left in an open clearing in a forest, they soon realize that they're being hunted by unknown forces and must struggle to survive. I'm going to be upfront and honest with you guys right off the jump. This movie is, simply put, a collection of things in film that I hate. It's a movie that is very political. It's about the political polarization of people in the United States, generally speaking. That kind of thing I hate dealing with in film. I watch movies to get away from that kind of stuff. I don't want to deal with that stuff when I'm watching a movie. The other thing I really do not like in movies is gratuitous violence. I really hate slasher films. I'm big into like ghost stories and, suspense movies and stuff, but just slasher movies with all the gratuitous violence, I'm just not into it. I just don't think it's necessary, and it's not for me. The other thing, it's a huge pet peeve of mine in movies, is characters that are basically cartoon characters. They're just so over the top, and they're incredibly one note, and they have no depth, and they exist solely to do one specific thing. Basically, every character in this movie is that. They are cartoon characters running around doing cartoon violence for cartoon reasons. There's no emotional weight to anything happening here. It's just ridiculous, and it's all based off of like political polarization.
Are we the hunted?
What is all of this?
Or are we the prey?
Oh, I can't use that.
Just point and shoot.
Everybody get down!
I know what this is. It's Manorgate. Every year, these rich elites kidnap a bunch of normal folks like us.
On top of the hyper-violence, though, it's also a comedy. So you have these cartoon characters running around doing hyper-violent things and then cracking jokes about it that none of them land. None of the jokes work. Like, all the jokes are just in incredibly bad taste, and they're awful. I was in a full theater when I watched this, and the whole movie, there was maybe 4 or 5 laughs. These jokes are happening on screen, and nobody laughs because they are just so awful. And that really is the whole movie. It's just gratuitous violence based in political satire with comedy that never lands and cartoon characters running around. So is there anything about this movie that makes it worth watching? Well, I will say that the movie is filmed competently. The way they set up the sets, the way they filmed the action, the way they filmed, all the standard filming stuff, the lighting, it's all competent. It's not amazing, it's not revolutionary, but it's done well enough to sell the idea that it's a pretty high budget movie. And so to that, I say, good job. It's not amazing, but it's way better than I would have expected for this material, frankly. The other thing that I liked is that they kept subverting tropes. At the beginning of the movie, they keep introducing characters, and you think, okay, this is our main character, and then nope, and then they introduce another main character, nope, and they introduce another one, and you just sort of are going through all these characters thinking, oh, this guy has to be the main character, and they end up not being. So there's a lot of kind of twists and turns that break conventions in terms of what you expect out of a movie like this, and that is nice to see. Without a doubt, though, the number one thing in the movie is our star, Betty Gilpin. Her performance is actually a human being. She actually seems like a person. Every other character in the movie is a cartoon character. They are insane and bizarre and weird, but Betty Gilpin's character, our main character, actually has some heart and soul to her. She plays this really hard-nosed ex-military lady from the South, and she's just fighting to survive, and that's the middle and end of it. She's trying to keep out of the politics of it. She doesn't care about the politics of it. All she knows is that somebody's trying to kill her, and she was trained to survive, and she wants to survive because that's what she does. And so, okay, her performance works, and I really am excited to see her in something else, some better material. With all that being said, my final rating for The Hunt is going to be a 3 out of 10. Overall, I just think this movie is in incredibly poor taste. The idea of having hyperviolence and then having jokes about the hyperviolence is just really callous and awful to me. I really hate that. But then on top of that, you have all this political stuff, and it's just so not fun to watch at all. And then on top of that, there's no characters to really latch on to. It's just, there's nothing here. There's nothing here. You know, I'm sure there's some people who might find something here they really enjoy and that they really like. And that's great. But this is definitely not for me. I hope I never see this movie ever again. Thank you guys so much for watching my review of The Hunt. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It would help me out a ton.